If you would like to reach an engaged community of marketing leaders, get in touch with That's What I Call Marketing to discuss sponsorship opportunities.
Welcome to That's What I Call Marketing, the podcast for you to hear from the leading lights in the marketing world and listen to their unique insights. Well, it's time to take you through the top of the marketing charts for November 2024. So let's get right into it. Yeah, well, first up, look, the US did decide and Trump trumped Harris and will be the new president again. Interesting to read some of the stats and around the election, and like for me I was like, was there anything interesting for us to learn from the election? Well, there were a few things. First of all, I think star power versus micro influence. The Harris campaign had endorsements from a lot of high profile celebrities like Beyonce, Eminem, Cardi B, Saturday Night Live, all aiming to energize younger voters and minority communities. In contrast, Trump had fewer endorsements from mainstream celebrities like Elon Musk, obviously, Zachary Levi, Kid Rock, Amber Rose, Hulk Hogan. And then it was social media influencers that aligned with conservative values that he used to mobilize his base. Obviously, the big Joe Rogan push as well. This has come up before. Sometimes the fit for influence is often better than the reach. Maybe it was that people couldn't see themselves in Beyonce and Eminem, so they resonated more closely with the influencers that Trump aligned himself with. Clear and consistent brand identity. Trump's campaign brand was instantly recognizable, whether it was through the MAGA slogan, the signature red caps, the color scheme, the font choices. Strong, clear visual identity extended across every touch point from his website to his rallies, and his brand evoked specific values that resonated with his core audience: patriotism, strength, anti-establishment sentiments. Apparently, the ability to have a set of distinctive assets that showed up everywhere worked well for him. I think the last Democrat to get this right was Obama. Simple emotive communication. I said this the first time Trump ran. I remember being in the States and talking to some people and stating that Trump would win. Willem still owes me $10. Why? He brilliantly simplifies things. He lives in a world of sound bites, but he somehow manages to understand what his base and beyond his base are worried about. He thinks about them, and he thinks about bold, clear statements that he can use to say he will fix the problems, tapping into strong emotions. From the outside looking in, it seems like none of it actually happens, but he lands his message with clarity, simplicity, and consistency. So there you go, a few lessons from the US election. Yes, 'tis the season. The Christmas ads are well upon us. And Marks & Lewis were one of the first out of the blocks with their Christmas ad. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to That's What I Call Marketing on YouTube and you'll see our Christmas ad. It's an absolute classic. Well, last year, brands collectively spent over $7.9 billion on Christmas advertising in the UK. And I suspect with inflation, that will increase this year. It did feel like we were seeing more US brands join the Christmas ad season. We're not going to go too much into it because I am going to be doing a special Christmas ads episode, as we do. It's a tradition now, as we do every year, and this year it's going to be with Red Sea Research, so really looking forward to that. But there's some big stats. Retailers invest so heavily in Q4. Ads can cost anywhere between $750k to incredible $8 million per campaign, and the industry actually creates about 3,000 production jobs across the UK. So it is a big driver for the UK, and the ads work. John Lewis's 2011 The Long Wait delivered a 10 times ROI on media spend. So it does work. People are skeptical of it, but it does work. So we will dissect more of that in our episode coming up in a few weeks. I was really intrigued to see LeBron James and his son Bronny. They were the first father-son team, or to play together on a team. Really interesting playing together for the Lakers. I'd say the NBA are just loving it, and Nike are loving it too. Yes, Nike, who, remember, everyone said they've lost their way. Well, they were all over it and did a great social piece that LeBron posted on his socials where he hazes the rookie. There's a brilliant "you're too old for this" line from the Sun. Really, really great to see Nike doing great work there. So, big news in the AI world was Michael Parkinson and the AI version of Parky that's coming out. So, for those of you who don't know, Michael Parkinson was Britain's greatest talk show host. He died in 2023, and a new podcast is coming out called Virtually Parkinson, where an AI version of Parky will interview new guests. They've taken in all of his recordings. There are thousands of hours and will replicate his interviewing style. It was brought to Deep Fusion Films by Parkinson's son, Mike. based on a conversation the father and son had prior to Michael Parkinson's death. And Field seemed apparently like the right partner. He has co-written all the policies in the ethical use of AI in film and TV industry, and he revealed to Yahoo UK that those who've spoken to the AI version of Parkinson have been surprised by how moving they found the experiencing, liking it to therapy because of its lack of judgment. He lets people talk. There's no judgment or any of that because it is AI. Now, there was some reaction to it. Irish broadcaster Ricochet saying this is an abomination, simple as. And I read Aisling O'Rourke saying, I think AI is fantastic in certain situations, but no, I don't like the idea of AI bringing people back from the dead. The counter argument is that this preserves, elongates, and helps Michael Parkinson's legacy live on. And it's been done by and with his family. So I do find that fascinating. It is, of course, that time of year we start looking at trends. And I have a great episode coming up with Imad Ahmed from Work, and we're going to look at their Marketers 2025 toolkit, but some of the trends that Cantor had. So broadcast is still going to dominate reach. In 2025, where attention will need to be earned continuously, consistently, and brands can't settle with suited for platform, with instead they need to stand out. Positively towards Gen AI among marketers is growing. 68% are positive towards it and 59% are excited about it. Created content in the US is a strong differentiator for brands, and I am a brilliant episode that I'm going to be recording and coming in the new year with Brit Starr from Creator IQ. So lots to talk about in that space. And in 2025, RMNs will become full funnel marketing assets, specifically for CPG brands. Wow, interesting. Of course, with predictions, I often wonder which ones come through. So I went back to 2024 and took a look at the predictions and decided to rate each one and how much they came through for Cantor. Nice work, Cantor. Most of your predictions were kind of 8 or 9 out of 10 in my highly scientific analysis. Back to the US action for a moment. I really loved the Cam 30 seconds ad. I remember actually trying once to sell a black screen as an ad to a power company. They didn't buy it. But someone did manage to sell this idea of 30 seconds of Cam to Cam, and it was on CNN and other networks on the US election night. Great to see some great creative coming out of Dyson. So following up on their partnership with Ray, they've amplified its presence in the music world, collaborating with artists who they say embody authenticity, passion and innovation. And now with Stormzy as their latest ambassador, Dyson are going to take us behind the scenes of the high octane life, and all captured in one seamless charge. You get the connection. And meanwhile, Beats by Dr. Dre have brought out a really great piece with Erling Haaland, created by Uncommon Studios. I really love the track they use. I love the quirkiness of it. It really plays into the quirkiness of Erling Haaland. So my LinkedIn feed, I don't know about you, but it was full of news that KitKat were becoming partner of Formula One. I liked the promo piece using the Formula One font, with the driver being told he needed to take a break. And Chris O'Donnell, quoted in Reuters, said the deal is a key part of our strategy to move from what's a very local model today, very fragmented, to more of a global model. So apparently KitKat's budgets have risen 20%, and we're now back to pre-COVID levels, says O'Donnell, of investment, marking a significant change, and we anticipate to keep investing behind the brand. Now this increase seems to be across Nestle, with the new CEO focusing on increased marketing investment and cost reduction, anticipating that advertising and marketing expenditure will be 9% of total sales by the end of 2025. He says, for our brands to win in the market, we need to invest. We'll generate the resources we need through efficiency and growth leverage. Really interesting. There's a very Irish saying, your gas, can be used both sarcastically and sincerely to mean you are funny. It's also used not to mean petrol, as it is in the US, but natural gas that goes into your home. Now, if you're a brand called Flow Gas and you sell gas, this is a good thing. But other brands here that started out with just a gas product, they are now selling energy. So what do you do when you have a legacy brand with reasonably strong name recognition and you need to let people know you do more? Well, I'm sure lots of options were explored, but one that was landed on by Flow Gas was to lean into gas to tell the story, the gas part. It's a humorous campaign from Flow Gas, really entertaining, enjoyable campaign, highlights the diverse offering that they have beyond gas, electricity, solar, EV charging, and Really well done by publicists in Dublin, and great to see entertaining, engaging work, and well done, Rita Kierwan. The out of home is wonderful. Again, if you have a look at the newsletter on LinkedIn, you will see how good that looks. Did you know there are 8 places in the world called Sweden? I didn't. But do you know who did? Well, Sweden did. Which one? The original one, of course. And to avoid any confusion, they are setting about trademarking Sweden. Love the video they've done to compare themselves to a luxury brand. A clever idea from the folks at Swedish Tourism, of course, all to get much more tourists heading to Sweden, a place I've never been. I always wanted to go. So, the freelancer's friend. Are you a freelancer? Do you struggle with any of these things? What strategies will help you find new clients? The essentials to include in a client proposal. Freelance skills that are most demanded, or how you should price yourself for new projects. I hear that a lot from freelancers. Well, the gang over at the Indie List have created a great ChatGPT tool to help you with that. If you go to the newsletter link, you will be able to find it there. And so, brilliant work by Una and Peter. You can just check out the Indie List and you will find it there as well. So it's a bit of controversy with Mango, fast fashion, Spanish chain, eliminating human models and using AI generated avatars to create advertising campaigns quickly. Their chief executive said that the garments the AI models were wearing are real and available to customers for purchase. And he said it was about faster content creation. Of course, this is kind of the narrative, right, at C-suite. And, you know, that AI is going to reduce costs. But at what cost? Like, I spend a lot of time working with AI tools. The time and investment you have to spend in figuring them out, working out the prompts, getting good at them, actually is a huge investment. So the narrative that this is going to be cheaper in a very fast way, I'm just not sure on, right? There is a cost somewhere, okay? So we need to be really mindful of that. Now, I think ultimately once you get the machine running, then it will be about faster content creation. And that is a good thing, right? I think that is a good thing. But I just think, you know, you see these headlines and you see that narrative and it's a bit risky. Now, the other thing with this is there was a big backlash to Mango on this in terms of the perfect look. I mean, every single model they have are beyond the, you know, traditional image of perfection. And I think they've been rightly criticized for using AI to do that. Really interested in the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. For me, not the fight itself, but was it damaging for the Netflix brand, right? It's been called a bit of a farce. I don't know much about boxing, but it looks like Tyson's training, one of the punches that he threw could have floored a YouTuber. So it was just really interesting. The fight was viewed by 60 million households, and it seemed that there was problems in the streaming, a bit of a 90s buffering experience for some people. One critic said, I would pay $90 not to have to watch this on Netflix. The buffering is so amateur. And then Peacock were great and they trolled Netflix. So how's everyone's night? Peacock said. Peacock has successfully live streamed NFL games and the Olympics, they reminded Netflix viewers. So there was lots on social media, and in the days following the fight, Netflix was being called out for really asking, was it morally right to allow the fight to... I'd love to see some of the round sentiment for Netflix in the days afterwards and really see, was it worth it for them? Meanwhile, much better than anything Netflix did, the crew over Paddy Power, the online gaming brand, had a lot of fun with the whole thing. Paddy Towers must be someplace. There must be a sign on the wall that says, in sport nothing is off limits, because they show up brilliantly in all these different places. And they showed up with Tony Bellew and his 70-year-old protege to tell Jake Paul that they had his next opponent. They managed to get into the press conference. They were in full Paddy Power gear. Now, they were rapidly removed, but they got what they needed. And there's a great moment at the end where the 70-year-old boxer raises his gloves to Jake Paul in rage on the way out. Really, really great work. And it was created by the great Rob Treelor of Oranges and Lemon, all under Michelle Spillane there at Paddy Power. So absolutely fantastic work. You do need to check that out. I'm not a Spurs fan, but that doesn't matter. I did see a post from Kieran Murphy about the remastered brand identity, and like all great brand refreshes, they've gone back to go forward. They're embracing rich and unmistakable heritage. They had input from over 300 players, staff and fans to understand what Tottenham Hotspur means to them. Oh yeah, like I spoke to Sarah Higgins. We talk to people, it's a bit 80s, but it works. In 2006, Spurs modernised its identity by simplifying the badge around the world famous cockerel icon, and that has stood alone in a minimalistic, iconic fashion, but they've doubled down on this now and have created a silhouette version allowing for more playful expression of the brand. The THFC monogram, fan favourite from the 50s, has been reintroduced, modernised and remastered. It is looking fantastic, and it was great to see people commenting and complimenting it on LinkedIn. Somebody saying, I love the rebrand. I'm typically trying to add some value from a strategic brand point of view to post here, but genuinely can't fault a thing. So all I have to say is well done. And that was from a Man United fan, Nick Primich. So really great work by Spurs. It looks great. It looks fresh, but leans into their heritage. Fantastic. I posted about this previously in November, and it's the AI doesn't stand a chance. Words from Ben Affleck when he's asked about the role of AI in filmmaking. Affleck had a great line. He goes, art is knowing when to stop. I think that's a great line, a great way for us to think about the use of AI. AI can remix ideas, automate process, and churn out content faster. Again, let's just be mindful of that speed piece. But as Affleck said, it lacks taste, intuition, and the ability to connect emotionally. Now, I always put in the words "for now" when I hear that. Now, he clearly knows what he's talking about. He was very informed on AI. So for us as marketers, what does it mean? Well, if AI starts generating content that resonates, that can connect emotionally, what is our role? Surely we are still needed to guide brands and figure out when to stop, right? So we need to really think about that. And I really think it's interesting to hear how AI in the film world is going to kind of have an impact in our world of creativity and marketing. You look at products like Lip Dub. Where do they start? They started in film, and they've moved into marketing. So look, AI can democratize marketing, making world-class tools available to everyone, but it can also potentially strip out the soul of brand building. So I think it's something that we continue need to have a conversation on. I think it is the biggest disruption that we are going to see and have seen to our industry. And we need to be mindful of how it is going to impact the work, but we need to be mindful and careful about the narrative of it's going to be faster and cheaper. Okay, that is my 2 cents. But still on AI gets a bad name, and here as well as other places, I try hopefully give a balanced perspective on it. But O2 in the UK have used it to great effect in catching scammers. So they're going about, they've created an AI granny called Daisy, and she wastes scammers' times. Nearly 7% of Brits reported being targeted by scammers. 22% face these attempts weekly. AI Daisy is turning the tables using state-of-the-art tech and tips from YouTube's fame to scam baiter Jim Browning to keep fraudsters on the phone for as long as 40 minutes. That's time they can't use to trick real victims. Great work by O2. I saw the next thing only recently, but it had come out during the summer, and I just thought it was worth calling it because it's a great, actually, piece of advertising from the wonderful crew at Lucky Generals. I'm a huge fan of their work. It's all about funerals. And look, nobody wants to talk about their funeral, anyone's funeral, let alone their own. So when funeral care is part of your business, you sort of need people to talk about it. So Co-op in the UK have brought out an amazing ad that shows real people having real conversations about what kind of funeral they'd like to have. Talking Now helps your loved ones later, cuts between groups of people from all over the country having those everyday conversations about funeral plans. I just love that. A really challenging topic to talk about. And it's like we were talking in the episode on playfulness in brands and talking about Movember and like the difficult topic that it is, but how can you address those topics in a playful and enjoyable way? And this is a great example of that. Look, November was a month that stopped us in our tracks. Definitely there was a few things that we were jaw-dropping as marketers, as we like to do. Look, obviously Coke's AI remake of their Christmas classic was one, and I don't want to talk too much about it because we will cover it in the Christmas special. But my overriding thought on the whole thing was, why? I don't think they needed to do it. The classic elements of the ad were what made the AI one work and score okay. I don't think the AI twist was needed on it. You probably heard about the Tropicana bottle redesign. It happened during the summer, but it seemed to hit the marketing news again this month. Tropicana introduced the significant redesign. It was making the bottle smaller, taking away kind of the balloon effect of the famous and pretty iconic Tropicana bottle. It was based on customer feedback, and it was meant to then be introduced at a new lower price. One of the issues seems to be that the new suggested lower price point hasn't made it to the customers, so customers aren't happening. People are referencing the 2009 redesign and saying, oh, have Tropicana not learned from that? Now, this is totally different in my view. A bottle resize happened successfully. Look at Coke and their thinner cans. We all talk about the Coke bottle being a distinctive brand asset, but you actually don't see it in shops at all. So really interested to see, is it the price point that's the problem here for Tropicana? Their sales are allegedly have slumped. Now, I can't not talk about Jaguar. We did not like that, did we? The recent rebranding, of course, marks a massive shift for Jaguar, and it was all the talk. I mean, as somebody said, if it's attention they wanted, they got it. Now, we know that their car sales were in decline, massive decline, and they've obviously thought long and hard about this, and their Chief Creative Officer, Professor Jerry McGovern, described the branding as imaginative, bold and artistic, unique and fearless. It is aligning to their plans to launch 3 new electric cars in 2026. So they're going to have no cars in 2025, but they are going to release the new look of the car in the coming weeks. It'll be really interesting to see that. Does it all live up to the hype? Look, lots of people were giving out about it. Mark Ritson criticised the campaign, saying Jaguar's bizarre new campaign marks a complete overhaul of its positioning, when instead it should have celebrated and updated what once made it great. Again, it's that concept of fresh consistency. Is that what they needed to do? So really interesting to see what it's all about, what happens. Some people were all for Jaguar. Matt Parry, the Future Collective, said, Jaguar CCO, do you think at any point Professor Jerry McGovern, OBE, and the team of 800 people that contributed to it thought, before we do this, guys, we should check if it's okay with Mark Ritson? No, because they know exactly what they are doing. So look, I always say it on this, I'm not here for anyone to fail. I don't enjoy those moments at all. They needed to do something dramatic. They've done something dramatic. Time will tell if this has worked out for them. But saying in the car world, then that was out in a couple of days after that. I was sent the Volvo campaign. Really lovely, emotional, big cinematic film that was really well made, and it talks about the moments that matter and how Volvo leaning into their safety and saying that it's what doesn't happen that really matters. And so really interesting. I didn't love the fact that the phone was the distraction. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We had some amazing episodes of That's What I Call Marketing in November, and really, really just so grateful to all my guests. Started out with Video Loves the Radio Star with Andrew Tyndall and Steve Keller. What an episode. Then I got to talk about direct mail with Nishma Patel Rob. What a brilliant, brilliant episode. And then, of course, the power of play and brand experiences with the gang at Neon. And then we got to talk about craft and creativity in B2B with the chair of B2B creative of Eurobest, Sarah Higgins. And that was a wonderful, wonderful episode, all about a topic I really love, B2B marketing. So that is it for this newsletter. Of course, coming up next month, we have some amazing episodes. I am going to be kind of getting into that looking back, looking ahead period. Said episode coming out with Imad Ahmed from WARC, looking at the 2025 Marketers Toolkit. I'm going to be catching up. It's now an annual tradition. We've done it once, but with Elaine Engel and Mark and V from Sleeping Barber podcast. And we're going to be talking about some of our top moments of 2024 and what we're looking forward to in 2025. That's always good fun. And then I am going to be doing a review of the year, a review of the Christmas ads first with Red Sea. I'm going to be joined by a panel for that episode, and we're going to also look ahead to what we think is coming for us in 2025. So looking forward to that in the coming weeks. Do tune in for those episodes, as all of our episodes are out every single Tuesday. So for me, your host, Conor Byrne, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch up with you at the next episode.
If you would like to reach an engaged community of marketing leaders, get in touch with That's What I Call Marketing to discuss sponsorship opportunities.